Hi, I'm Leah Wheatholter. I'm the founder and CEO of Workman Forensics in Tulsa, Oklahoma. As part of our team's response to the COVID-19 crisis, we've been creating worksheets based on SBA guidance to help you stay organized and hopefully to maximize your loan forgiveness or at least your expectations of what could be forgiven when that time comes. So we've issued a worksheet and tutorial video for the first round of PPP funds, and specifically for those people and businesses that had payroll. So you had 941s, 940s, and so forth. If you file a Schedule C, however, and you're a sole proprietor, then your rules are a little different. And so we've updated the worksheet to be able to adjust for your needs as a sole proprietor. So let's take a look at that now. First of all, as we move through this worksheet, we have included instructions at the top for you to review along with this video. Payroll percentage of loan funds is a percentage calculator that's going to tell you how much of the funds that you've spent were for payroll costs, because there is a requirement that only 25% of the PPP loan funds can be used for things other than payroll. And in this case, it's going to be like this owner compensation replacement is what they're calling the owner's payroll or sole proprietor's payroll. We're also going to talk about the estimated amount forgiven because it is different and it is less than what you can actually receive as a loan. Now, just so you know, the SBA has not issued complete guidance yet on what amount and just what the forgiveness is going to look like within this program. But within the guidance of how funds could be used, especially for sole proprietors, they have mentioned what calculation will be used for the forgiveness portion of the owner compensation replacement. So we have created an estimator for you just to consider and just kind of help with your expectations whenever you go to the bank. The other thing is that on the other worksheet, a lot of things stem from your payroll reports, but as a sole proprietor, you may not have that, and more than likely you don't. So because of that, the amount that you could borrow and everything is going, and what's going to be forgiven and how things are limited are based on your 2019 Schedule C net profit. Now, I've seen lots of different loan amounts, but from different banks, and I don't know how they calculated your loan amounts. I know what the guidance says, but hopefully by the time you're looking at this video, you've received your loans. So let's just start there. And we're also going to talk about how some of these things are limited in the amounts that you can pay yourself and in addition to the forgiveness. Now, our sections include how we're going to use the funds. So think of this section like a check register. Then the next column are the adjustments. There are quite a few adjustments for the sole proprietors within the PPP loan program. So we've done as much of those auto calculations as we can in making it where this will apply to a large audience. So that should help you along the way as well. Then, because we're forensic accountants and fraud examiners and we do a lot of looking at how loans are supported, we're very comfortable in the supporting documentation space as auditors and forensic accountants. So what we've done is, depending on the type of category and the way you've used the funds, we're going to make suggestions in this recommended supporting documentation columns that will tell you, hey, while you're working on this stuff, you might just want your bank statements. You might need your Schedule C. So we're going to give you some of that supporting documentation so you can just start creating a file and folder now. That way you're not scrambling at the end of the 8 weeks. All right, let's take an example. We're going to look at a fake Schedule C that I've created, and we're going to look at line 31. And the first thing we're going to do is enter our line 31 2019 Schedule C net profit, which is $46,800. Then let's say that we received funds on May 1st of $10,000. That's what this is, green, and you're just going to enter the $10,000 there. So the next line, we're going to talk about this owner's compensation replacement. And if you'd like to look at any of this information, there is an interim final rule you can look at. And in paragraph 1B, the SBA provides guidance on the following. Let's say that we're going to pay ourselves, and we're just going to pay ourselves one time over 8 weeks. You could also pay it in several payments over the next few weeks, and we'll talk about how to handle that. But let's just do one payment. And this is what they call it, owner compensation replacement. Then we're going to select the category of owner compensation. Now, This automatically makes the adjustment based on paragraph 1B of this guidance, which is you are limited to the amount that you can use PPP loan funds to pay yourself with to the 2019 Schedule C net profit divided by 12, which is essentially your average net profit for 2019, multiplied by 2.5. So we've already done the calculation for you to limit this payment, which is the net profit that you entered in this cell above, the 46,800, and we've limited that to the 9750. So I would recommend that you only pay yourself the 9750 because that's the maximum amount that can be included with PPP. Let's say that you did decide just to pay yourself the entire 10,000. In the adjustments column, you need to go ahead and adjust out the excess. Select enter, 10,000 minus 9750. And then it'll just adjust it out where your PPP amount is the amount that's limited. Now, as you can see in the supporting documentation columns, now that we've made all these selections, we're recommending that you keep your 2019 Schedule C and that you also have your bank statement handy where you show this payment being made. If you decide that you're going to just pay yourself $5,000 this first time, then there would be no adjustment because you're below that $97.50 amount. So you pay yourself $5,000, let's say. And then on the 15th, you decide to pay yourself again. So we're going to do all the same things, only this time I have to limit it to the $47.50. So the point that I wanted to make is that this worksheet doesn't track how much you've paid yourself. You will need to track and look for yourself to see, okay, have I exceeded that combined, is my combined total of these payments greater than that $97.50? So just something to keep in mind. All right, I'm going to change this back to the $97.50 so that we can look at this next part. So the next part I'd like to show you is how this estimated amount forgiven could impact you. And so we're going to start with just looking at the guidance in paragraph F. What amount shall be eligible for forgiveness? And it says owner compensation replacement, which is the payment we've been talking about, and that it's based on 2019 net profit as described in paragraph 1B. So that's our $97.50. That's where we've gotten that limitation, is from paragraph 1B. With forgiveness of such amounts limited to 8 weeks worth or 8/52 of 2019 net profit. So we're going to have some limitation of our loan based on the net profit and 8/52 of that net profit. So the estimated amount to be forgiven is by taking this net profit, the 46,800, multiplying by 8, dividing by 52. That's the amount that is estimated to be forgiven at this point in time based on those instructions. So I've been trying to tell as many people as possible that even though you're allowed to have this entire amount and, it's limited to, in our example, the $97.50, there's only a portion of it that's going to be forgiven. And so you might just want to keep that in mind. However, the part that's not forgiven is payable back to government. Your loan agreement is for 2 years and it's at 1% annual interest. So it's pretty negligible and you may need to go ahead and use and keep all of that, but it's just something to keep in mind that I like to point out. The other thing is related to rent and utilities. So PPP loan funds can be used to pay for rent and utilities, but there are some limitations. So let's just look at those quickly. I'm going to lower this down just so that you can kind of see how the balance works here. Actually, let's do 7,500 so that we meet that 75% of payroll. All right, let's go ahead and pay rent. So you just put the description like you would a check register or something. Then you're going to select the category for rent and lease payments. And then let's say that this year your rent has actually gone up, and so monthly you pay $1,100. The guidance says the amount of the PPP loan funds you can use is limited to the average rent payments that you paid last year. This also applies to utilities. So we're going to need to go back to our sample Schedule C, and we'll find there that our rent or lease payments on our building totaled $12,000. So that average is $12,000 divided by 12, so $1,000 a month. So our excess is $100. So we're going to put here $1,100 minus the 1,000 that was listed on the Schedule C, because the adjustment works, you include the amount that's over what was recorded on Schedule C. And so your PPP amount is $1,000, so it's limited, like we said. And then you're going to have additional supporting documentation here of a lease or bank statement, and then also your Schedule C. You're going to do the same thing for utilities. And then you just select utilities. All right. And then let's say your utilities in 2019, according to your Schedule C, were $1,200. So that's about $100 a month. Let's just say for purposes of this that it was $100, but your average from last year was also $100, so you don't need to make an adjustment, and we give you some recommended supporting documentation. If you own your building, you're gonna need to make your mortgage payment. You're going to select mortgage payments, and then let's say this mortgage payment is $1,000. The portion you can use or you can pay for with your PPP loan funds is just the interest portion. So let's just say, for example, that your principal amount is $900. So in your adjustments, it's going to say mortgage principal amount, and then you just enter $900, and then it tells you how much of the PPP loan funds you can use. And then once again, it reduces our balance so that we can see how much of the PPP loan funds we have available to use. If you're a business owner that files a Schedule C and you have employees, then I recommend taking a look at our video about the PPP loan worksheet where we address using payroll reports. That will help you complete this worksheet. All of the categories and everything mentioned in that video are also included here, but since the majority of business owners that file a Schedule C don't have that, I didn't add it to this video as well. I hope you find this worksheet helpful. I know that it helped me stay organized in using our PPP loan funds and also just feeling more confident in how I was using the funds going forward. Thanks so much for watching.